Music has had to share the cultural arena with video games, everything else, everything you can imagine. And that's today.
Before becoming America's blue-collar poet laureate, Bruce Springsteen was rock's most uncompromising purist, a street-level philosopher with unwavering musical convictions and a legendary intolerance for anything he perceived as inauthentic. Bruce doesn't just dislike certain music, he takes it as a betrayal of what rock should be. E Street Band guitarist Steven Van Zandt reportedly confided in 2017. While most musicians are diplomatic about their contemporaries, Bruce would analyze exactly how they'd abandoned rock's promise, then dismiss them entirely. Today, we're counting down the 6 musical acts that allegedly drove the passionate rocker to his breaking point. The artists that made the usually articulate Springsteen abandon his working-class poetry and launch into legendary tirades that industry insiders still reference decades later. From scathing private critiques and veiled stage comments to backstage confrontations and musical parodies, these relationships reveal a side of the boss that fans rarely glimpsed. Some entries might shock you. Others confirm what Springsteen devotees have suspected for years. Prepare for the definitive ranking of the artists that pushed the impassioned wordsmith to his limit. The ones he criticized, deconstructed, and above all, reportedly viewed as betraying the sacred covenant between musician and audience. 6. Bon Jovi. When Bon Jovi rose to commercial dominance in the mid-1880s, Springsteen reportedly viewed them as the corporate commodification of his New Jersey sound. A glossy, arena-ready version that stripped away the grit and narrative depth he'd spent years perfecting. "They're selling the packaging of New Jersey without the substance," Bruce supposedly told a reporter in 1986, though his management allegedly demanded the quote be removed before publication. "It's the highway exit numbers without the actual journey, the postcard version of a place that deserves better." What few realize is that Springsteen's contempt allegedly went beyond aesthetic disagreement. According to roadies who worked with both acts, Bruce would reportedly change radio stations immediately if a Bon Jovi song came on, once allegedly muttering, "From the same state maybe, but not from the same planet." The tension reportedly intensified after both acts contributed to charity concerts in the late 1980s. Witnesses claim Springsteen watched Bon Jovi's set with a pained expression, afterward reportedly telling drummer Max Weinberg, "That wasn't New Jersey, that was New Jersey through a Hollywood filter." John Bon Jovi, a vocal Springsteen fan, supposedly attempted to bridge the divide multiple times. At an industry event in 1989, he allegedly approached Bruce, only to receive what one witness described as the coldest handshake in rock history, followed by Bruce allegedly saying, "Nice pyrotechnics, I prefer storytelling." According to producer Jimmy Iovine, Springsteen would occasionally mock Bon Jovi's stage moves during E Street Band rehearsals, reportedly saying, "This is what happens when you care more about what you look like than what you sound like." 5. Journey. Steve Perry's soaring vocals and Journey's arena rock anthems reportedly struck Springsteen as the antithesis of his own approach to musical communication. Commercial products designed for maximum appeal rather than authentic expression. Bruce thought Journey represented everything wrong with where rock was heading, E Street bassist Gary Talent allegedly revealed. He'd say they've discovered you can make more money by removing the struggle from rock and roll. But without the struggle, what's the point? What music historians rarely discuss is the reported backstage encounter at a festival in 1981. According to witnesses, Perry approached Springsteen to express admiration, only to be allegedly dismissed with a cutting, "I write about the working man, you write about feelings that sell well, we're not in the same business." The animosity reportedly intensified after Don't Stop Believin' became a cultural phenomenon. During a particularly candid radio interview in 1982, Springsteen allegedly responded to a comparison with, "I create characters who face the America that exists. They create choruses that ignore it." Springsteen's private conversations with producer John Landau reportedly contained blistering assessments of Journey's approach. "They've built a fantasy version of struggle," Bruce supposedly stated. Real struggle isn't pretty enough to sell millions. So they've created a sanitized version that feels cathartic without the actual pain. If you're enjoying this deep dive into rock's secret rivalries, now's the perfect time to hit that subscribe button. We uncover the music industry's most shocking feuds and the stories mainstream documentaries won't tell you. 4. Phil Collins. Perhaps the most surprising entry on Springsteen's list of musical adversaries was Phil Collins, an artist whose earnest ballads and blue-eyed soul might seem removed from Bruce's territory, yet reportedly drew his particular ire. Bruce viewed Collins as the corporate softening of rock's edge, drummer Max Weinberg allegedly revealed. He'd say, "Phil's taken the rebellious spirit of rock and turned it into background music for dentist offices. That's not evolution, that's surrender." The rivalry reportedly intensified during the mid-1980s when both artists were achieving massive commercial success. According to Columbia Records executives, Springsteen would bristle at comparisons between Collins's chart dominance and his own Born in the USA. Breakthrough once allegedly saying, "Popularity isn't the measurement that matters. What matters is whether you're telling the truth." What particularly irked Springsteen, according to those close to him, was Collins's transition from progressive rock drummer to pop balladeer. Bruce thought it was calculating, photographer Annie Leibovitz supposedly recalled from a photo session. He'd say, "He found the formula that sells and abandoned everything else. That's not an artist, that's a businessman." Their paths crossed at Live Aid in 1985, creating what one backstage crew member described as mutual avoidance. When Collins performed at both the London and Philadelphia venues via Concorde jet, Bruce allegedly commented to his band, "Some people will go to extraordinary lengths to be everywhere except where it matters, inside the music." Most revealing was Springsteen's reaction to Collins's cover of Against All Odds. According to witnesses at a listening session, Bruce allegedly remarked, "He's built a career on making passion safe for suburban consumption. That's not a service to music." 3. Duran. Duran, few fans realize that behind Springsteen's rugged persona lurked a particular contempt for Duran Duran's image-conscious approach, an aesthetic difference that reportedly became a personal crusade against what he saw as style over substance. Bruce believed videos were killing rock's soul, E Street guitarist Niels Lofgren allegedly revealed. He'd say, "Duran Duran aren't musicians, they're models with instruments. They've convinced a generation that looking good is more important than sounding real." Springsteen's disdain reportedly extended beyond their music to encompass the entire MTV-driven culture they represented. According to those who toured with him, he viewed Duran Duran's approach as the triumph of surface over depth, once allegedly telling his band, "They're not even making the same art form we are. We make music. They make commercials for themselves." The animosity allegedly intensified when both acts were featured in a Rolling Stone issue in 1984. Bruce reportedly refused to reference Duran Duran during his interview, despite the magazine's attempt to create a dialogue between the bands. According to editor Kurt Loder, Springsteen supposedly said off-record, "I talk about Woody Guthrie and Hank Williams. I don't have anything to say about fashion plates." What particularly troubled Springsteen was Duran Duran's approach to authenticity. He couldn't comprehend their comfort with artifice, Steve Van Zandt allegedly told biographers. Bruce would crawl through broken glass to convey something genuine. The idea of prioritizing image was fundamentally offensive to him. In a particularly telling anecdote, Springsteen reportedly watched Duran Duran's "Hungry Like the Wolf" video at a friend's insistence, leaving halfway through. When asked years later about the New Wave movement, he allegedly responded, "Some musical revolutions are actually just clever marketing. I prefer the revolutions that happen from the neck down." 2. Disco. Springsteen's well-documented disdain for disco transcended individual artists to encompass an entire genre, a musical movement he reportedly viewed as the antithesis of rock's communal, authentic spirit. According to close associates, Bruce considered disco the mechanization of passion and a betrayal of music's organic roots. Bruce thought disco represented everything wrong with the direction of popular music: producer John Landau allegedly revealed in 2008. He'd say, "They've removed the human element and replaced it with a machine. That's not evolution, that's surrender." The tension reportedly began during disco's late 1970s commercial peak. According to witnesses, Springsteen was appalled by what he perceived as the genre's superficiality, allegedly telling E Street pianist Roy Bittan, "They've turned music from communication into mere decoration, its heartbeat replaced by metronome." What fans don't realize is that Springsteen reportedly refused to allow disco remixes of his work, despite Columbia Records' requests during the Born to Run era. According to studio engineers, Bruce allegedly stated, "I'd rather fail on my own terms than succeed on theirs. Some compromises cost more than they're worth." In a particularly revealing moment, Springsteen reportedly attended a New York disco with friends in 1978, observing silently for an hour before allegedly saying, "It's perfect music for people who don't want to think or feel too deeply," which means it's barely music at all. The animosity wasn't entirely philosophical. When the Disco Sucks movement gained momentum, culminating in the infamous Disco Demolition Night at Comiskey Park, Springsteen reportedly distanced himself from the backlash as well, allegedly telling his band, "Hating music is just as meaningless as making empty music." Both missed the point entirely. 1. Kenny G. The top spot on Springsteen's list of musical grievances was reportedly occupied by smooth jazz saxophonist Kenny G, a contempt so pure that it allegedly became something of an inside joke among the E Street Band. According to those close to him, Bruce viewed Kenny G as the final victory of pleasant sounds over meaningful music. Bruce believed Kenny G represented the complete surrender of music's capacity to tell the truth. E Street saxophonist Clarence Clemons allegedly revealed in a rare 2004 interview. He called him musical wallpaper and considered his success a personal affront to anyone trying to communicate something real through an instrument. What most fans don't realize is that Springsteen's animosity reportedly began after hearing Kenny G in an elevator in 1989. According to witnesses, he listened in stunned silence before allegedly declaring, "This isn't just bad music, this is the sound of giving up. It's what you hear when you've stopped trying to connect and just want to soothe." The criticism extended to every aspect of Kenny G's presentation. During saxophone recordings, Springsteen would reportedly use him as a cautionary example, once allegedly telling Clemons, "Remember, you're telling stories with that horn, not creating a sonic air freshener." Their paths surprisingly crossed at an industry event in the 1990s, creating what one attendee described as the ultimate musical contrast. When Kenny G attempted to discuss saxophone technique with Clemons while Bruce was present, Springsteen allegedly intervened with, "Clarence plays sax. You play something that resembles a sax, but serves an entirely different purpose." Most revealing was Springsteen's reaction to Kenny G's commercial success. According to witnesses, he was mystified by the millions of albums sold, allegedly commenting, "We've reached a point where comfort is more valuable than truth. That's not just bad for music, it's bad for society." And there you have it, Bruce Springsteen's 6 most despised musical acts. From corporate rock to smooth jazz, these artists managed to crack the boss's impassioned facade and reveal the musical purist beneath. Which of Springsteen's musical feuds surprised you most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit subscribe for more untold stories from rock's golden age, and smash that like button if you want more legendary countdown videos. Until next time.